Yes.
You've got 3 beautiful cars here, and luckily enough, you're going to tell me a little bit about each one, and then tell me about the one that you just designed.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a DB5, so obviously an icon. DB5, the first car that James Bond drove in Goldfinger. This isn't the actual car, but it's the same color scheme. So silver birch with a black interior, an icon of the 60s, the early 60s, DB being David Brown. This was the 5th in that regime, if you like, starting with DBR1 and the DB24s and DB5, then becoming 6. So that was James Bond and a lot of other people who loved elegant, beautiful, simple cars. And Aston Martin has beauty at its core. It has great proportion, which is why a DB5 from the early 60s still looks good today in 2016. And that's why we're here in Pebble Beach. The other special car is DB10. DB10 is James Bond's current car, so the car that James Bond drove in Spectre. We only made 10 cars. It was all created and designed within a 6-month period. So Sam Mendes, the director of the movie, came to the studio. We developed DB10 just for James Bond. We only made 10. We sold one of the cars at a private auction that was a charity auction for Médecins Sans Frontières. So one car is in public hands. The rest belong to ourselves and Eon, who are the producers of the Bond movies. It's a very, very important car, only 10. James Bond's current car in Spectre. Again, proportion, beauty, the elegance, fabulous surface language, and that's what an Aston Martin DB10 is. So DB5, DB10 just for James Bond. And because James Bond has DB10, the DB11, obviously following on from a DB9, has to be DB11 because there's the DB10. DB11 is our all-new Grand Tourer, Super Grand Tourer. It's an all-new platform, so all-new chassis, bonded aluminium, an all-new V12 turbocharged 5.2-litre engine, all-new interior, Daimler, so Mercedes-Daimler embedded electrical architecture on the inside of the car. Great technology, the largest clamshell bonnet that the auto industry has. Truth to materials, so looks like aluminium because it is aluminium, it's polished aluminium grille. A badge that's made by a jewellery maker in the centre of England in Birmingham. So traditional process of making this badge, one of the most beautiful badges on the market in the industry now. And Aston Martin is about its face, a beautiful face. The eyes go with the face. Technology in the headlamps, LED technology there as well. But look at the great curvature that you see. This is really what an Aston Martin
is. And
this
is your baby. You designed this one.
This is myself and my team, our latest creation in terms of production models.
Let's just step inside for a minute.
Of course.
Now,
the chap on the right is one of the designers.
I love this seat.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole interior is new.
Yes.
And that's something we've focused on in terms of really thinking about the GT drive, the long journey, the comfortable journey. And of course, what do you do on a long journey? You sit in a seat for a long time. We hand make our seats at Gaydon in the factory, and the seamstresses and the guys and the girls sewing the seats are craftsmen and women that hand make these seats.
How much time does it take?
The total car takes around 200 man-hours to build.
Just for the seats, though?
No, that's the whole car. The seat is probably about, I'd say 10 hours in that process for the whole of the seat.
This looks like my great aunt used to have a fur shawl, and it would go right over the arms of her and come right down into the front. Looks exactly like that.
Yeah, this is all about comfort for your upper back, comfort for obviously for where you're sitting for the most of the time. But again, it's heated and cooled. So these vents here allow the hot or the cold air to cool you in your upper back, in the lower of your back, and as you're sitting on the seat as well. So it's not just about ergonomic comfort, it's about temperature comfort as well. And finding a seat, I'm 6'4", and I find this seat very, very comfortable to travel in for a long time. Natural leathers from a Scottish tannery called Bridge of Weir. So this is natural hides, not printed hides at all. So again, all of those hides are hand selected for perfection. Those cows live in fields that don't have barbed wire, so we don't get scratches or nicks in the leather. It is really beautiful, supple, soft leather.
In fact, you use only bulls because the cows have stretch marks.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
What else did you decide to change in here that has never been in an Aston Martin before?
Well, so what we have in here is we have TFT screens for the first time. So we have
TFT, yes.
Yeah, digital screens. So that's digital technology screens. So they're very, very. Think about an iPad and the depth of image that you get on an iPad. That's what you have in here now, and all of the technology is obviously projected onto there through the screen technology. It means that you can actually tune the graphics for the customer. All of the switchgear is capacitive in here, so you have capacitive controls over glass panels. We have a touch-sensitive volume control unit as well, voice activation for many things, touch control on the steering wheel, touchpad controllers here as well. So there's a lot more interactivity for the driver and the passenger as well. So some things very, very unique on an Aston Martin. And again, if you look at the door casing and you see the leather, so this is an open-grained leather here with a wood veneer, which is again open-grained as a wood veneer. So you get the natural leather, which is open-grain, it's not coated or covered, with the natural open pores of the wood veneer as well. So some very beautiful combinations, but it really is all about truth to material. So when you see something that looks like metal, it is actually metal. And when you see something that looks like glass, it is actually glass. And that's really what makes an Aston Martin.
Marek, who did you design with before?
I've been working in the industry for quite a long time. I was working with, at one point, Ford, Lincoln and Mercury within Ford, BMW for some time, but working on their British brands, so the previous generation Range Rover, Rolls-Royce. I was part of the team that started the Rolls-Royce Phantom program as well.
This is the first Aston Martin you have designed?
It's not the first Aston Martin. This is a long line. So my first Aston Martin was the DBS that James Bond used in Casino Royale. Then the Rapide, the V12 Vantage, the first V12 Zagato, the 177, all of the cars for the last 11 years.
Wow. This one, I think, it stuns me. It's just so absolutely beautiful. Is it really that hard to outdo yourself?
Well, I think that's part of the challenge each time, is to rethink, reinvent, redesign, re-engineer, and what you're trying to do each time is, design is about making something better, improving something aesthetically, how it's manufactured, what its quality is, and how you use the technology as well. So it's exciting. It's exciting to be a designer at Aston Martin because we are constantly reinventing, rethinking, and we're independent. We're small and independent, so we think quickly, we're agile, and we make very, very fast decisions.
When will this come out for sale?
This is on sale now in terms of deposit process, and the first customer cars will be in the customer's hands in mid-October of this year.
I have to go play the lottery now. Marek, that's absolutely stunning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.